We are now joined by Cleveland Cavaliers power forward Kevin Love. Kevin, thank you so much for spending some time with us today because we have a really important topic to dive into because October, it's National Bullying Prevention Month. Monday is World Mental Health Day. And you've recently partnered with the Choose Kindness Project that's launching today. So how is your foundation working to help young people who are struggling?
Well, we work around a lot with, both physical and mental wellness with the youth. So preteen, teenagers, all the way leading into college a little bit. So I partnered with the Choose Kindness Project as an ambassador, and they bring together top nonprofit organizations across the country to champion really three major issues, which are bully prevention, intentional inclusion, and like I said, youth mental wellness. So I think it was just a perfect fit to be an ambassador, for them and the Choose Kindness Alliance. And the goal of the Alliance is to provide resources that are easily and readily available to those who really need them most. So those kids that are struggling getting their parents, their coaches, and really any other adults that can really help them through a tough time. And, having gone through the pandemic, even pre-pandemic leading into now, I can't imagine what that time in their life, what the youth and teenage life is like now, going through school, and everything that comes with being a teenager. So I think it's a beautiful time to, and couldn't be a more important time in October. You said National Bullying Prevention Month, as well as World Mental Health Day on 10/10. So it's a great time to be speaking about this. No better time, and I'm very excited to be partnering with the Choose Kindness Project.
Kevin, I reread your poignant Players Tribune essay today from 2018, and I also was revisiting some of DeMar DeRozan's words, and one of the many thoughts that I had was just about the universal nature of this. So how do you think athletes sharing something that is so deeply personal helps to reshape how mental health is viewed?
Well, I think it's really been a beautiful thing to see those in the public eye. And like you said, athletes, athletes are looked at as superhuman in so many ways. And for me to see somebody like DeMar, as you mentioned, Malika, step up and say that he battles with something pretty much, every single day with his depression, and it gets to him, that opened the door for me to say, hey, listen, if DeMar can expose himself at this level, with all that he goes through and, being where he's from, being a black man in America, damn, I feel like I can do this too and pay it forward for that next person who may need it. So I feel like in a lot of ways when I see him, like he helped save my life in a way, right? So I think it's amazing to see others step up. You see Naomi Osaka, Simone Biles, you see Michael Phelps before that, Dak Prescott, so many different athletes within this space stepping up and sharing their stories. And you just never know who you're going to affect. And again, like people in our setting, people in our position, it's not like anxiety or depression or mental illness looks at a dollar and says, oh, we're not going to go after somebody who's successful. It doesn't think like that. This is something that doesn't discriminate. And I think with people in our positions where, we're looked up to as superhuman, and those who, play sports and kids love, and we have PSAs and we can press a button and it's getting to tens, 20, hundreds of millions of people that enjoy our sport. I think it could be used for, a lot of good and pushing, and eliminating the stigma, but pushing the message forward that it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to, struggle with these things, because again, it doesn't discriminate and it touches everybody at some single point in their life.
It certainly doesn't discriminate, and there's so many layers to what you just touched on as to how different communities respond to and interact with this topic of mental health. But you said something in there, DeMar DeRozan, in a sense, you said saved your life. Does he know that?
He knows that. Yeah, I've told him offline a number of times, but it's funny, every time I see him now, whether he's in Chicago, whether he's playing against us here, whether it's in the summertime, I give him a big hug and I tell him I love him. It's we're such an elite fraternity in this league, 450 players. But again, it's not just my life he affected. I was able to tell my story because of him, and hopefully affected so many other people's lives. So you just never know the ripple effect that you can have from paying it forward and sharing your story. So I think that's allowed me to be more empathetic, allowed me to be vulnerable. And at the end of the day, we spoke to Richard during the break, like, I'm still me, right? Like, I'm not anybody else but myself. I'm a lot more comfortable in my own skin. And it doesn't mean that I can't go out there and do my job. And, a setting that is so, rah-rah and hyper masculine. If anything, it's made me definitely a better teammate and leader in the locker room, but also, allow me to extend my arms around maybe a younger guy or another veteran who's struggling. I've had a lot of teammates that have done that throughout the league, and the numbers by themselves, statistics by themselves, show you that even in the 450 in our organizations, people working on our day-to-day, our travel teams, their kids, their mothers, their sisters, whatever it may be, are struggling. So having these conversations is extremely, extremely important.